Hello, welcome to this video. Thanks for tuning in and sharing in this now moment with myself and with one another. If you haven't seen these videos before, welcome back if you have. My intention is unity and oneness and the highest levels of love light. Energies today are unbelievably high. I want to talk, I'm just going to go into flow. I want to share just a big thank you for everybody who's watched these videos and had comments and booked sessions with me, and I have had the most amazing experiences because of you guys, so thank you. Every time I work with someone, it basically opens up a portal for me to connect into that energy field, and I just want to say that you guys are amazing. The star seeds that I'm working with, the humans I'm working with, the light workers I'm working with, it's just magical. The energies have shifted so much. It's palpable. We can feel it. We may be feeling it physically. We may be feeling a little tired, and that's okay. We may be feeling the need to sleep a lot more. For me, I've had to really integrate this, and just relax and open. All right, here we go. Kue ashta kue natia wahakua wahene ya waku wahete ya testukuna. And the energies that are coming in are helping to extract, if you will, to pull out the remnants, the leftover particles, so to speak, that have felt stuck in our field. Certain habitual patterns and frequencies that we are recognizing are being uplifted, are being revealed, and therefore deactivated. For when we actively participate in our uplifting, as we actively participate in that which we are being uplifted and into, that which is no longer conducive to our energy particle exchange, our advancement, our expansion, is made sometimes almost painfully obvious. Yet this allows us to obliterate that which has been put in front of us for so long to create, I'm hearing indecisiveness, devices of distraction, and it allows us to uplift into our fuller human potential. For we are potentially more expansive than we have ever perceived before. Many of the barriers that we have been placed within or we have placed upon ourselves have been uplifted, yet we fall back into the old habitual patterns of self-constraint, constraining ourselves because of painful applications that we have applied over and over again as defense mechanisms, so to speak. So I'm seeing this reference to a lot of us have felt like we've had to be on the defense. We've had to protect ourselves. We've had to, I had a beautiful conversation with my sister Candace, and in one of her sessions she was saying, people feel like they have to protect themselves, shield themselves, and not be able to express who they are. And I'm seeing that a lot as well. Many of us have thought we're not as, that somebody else is more important than we are. Our own needs have not been met. Many of us have found ways to distract ourselves from what it is that we truly want by pouring ourselves into the wants and needs of others, or putting others into a particular vantage point where we view them as more expansive, more expressive, more creative, more beautiful, fill in the blanks than we are. And that is shifting for many of us. Many of us are feeling the expansiveness that we are, yet we are ignoring it or afraid to move into it, so to speak, because many of us are more comfortable staying in old habit patterns and old processes, feeling like we have to process things the same way that we used to. Yet we are being invited to recognize that these processes have completely changed. We do not have to have the same conversations. We don't have to do the same thing over and over and over again. This has just been something we've been in the habit of being stuck in, so to speak. I'm being guided to talk a little bit about what I have had the experience and pleasure of tapping into this week. Really strong energies with the fairies. I had a beautiful session with a light worker who is very connected to the fairy kingdom, which is not something I've really tapped into much. So that was awesome. Many of you may be feeling very drawn to certain elements and elementals. That can be, I'm being guided to share this, particular flowers. Oh, I forgot about that. Particular smells, particular plants or trees, particular colors associated with these plants and trees. And what the reason that I'm being guided to share is because they're activating for us. So if you're guided to pick a particular flower or buy a particular flower or a particular smell, use it, because what it's doing is it's helping to activate certain memories that are ready to come up. And it creates a bond, a chemical bond that allows you to bond with this particular memory. So this is something that our bodies have within them. Innately, we have the ability to bond with these elementals. And when we bond with these elementals, which the earth naturally provides for us, we then activate within us our human potential to expand. And that could be, the question becomes, well, what is that flower really going to do for me? First of all, it's not necessarily about what the flower is going to do for you. It's quantum. So for example, a rose. I had a session with somebody and I really wanted them to focus on red roses. That seems so simple, but a rose is a symbol of literally the golden spiral, the frequency of perfection. It is a certain high, relaxing smell. It's associated with rose quartz, which is a heart frequency. It's associated with softness and velvet and sensory. It has a depth and a smell to it. It also has to do with the womb and divine feminine and the roots. So I could go on and on. You might feel guided to work with yellow roses, which is more light and sunshiny and solar plexus. But it's beyond that, because it could be that you are accessing a memory in which you had red roses at a particular event that stimulated you in such a way that created your own expansive expression. And I could go on and on. It could be in this lifetime, it could be in other lifetimes. It could be that you were a particular being that created a hybrid of roses on a particular reality structure. I could go on and on. I'm going very quantum here. The point is, it's not about that. It's also sometimes just about us acknowledging that is, a lot of us ask for help, and then we don't pay attention when it shows up for us, or we blow it off or ignore it like it's irrelevant or it's simple. And that's part of the reason that I called this Keep It Simple Starseeds, because, or my YouTube, Instagram channel, because many of us overcomplicate things, and we think we need fireworks, and we think we need an angel to show up right in front of us and tell us, look in this direction, a red rose means this. But in actuality, it's using our sensory abilities as a human in order to bring through these past experiences to activate us in the human sensory way. The tactile, right? In order to fully stimulate the extrasensory. If we're not paying attention to our human base 5 senses, then how are we balancing that with how are we receiving the extrasensory abilities? It works together in unison. That's why we're in a human body. We are creating with this tactile sensory system. But in addition to that, the reason I'm sharing this is sometimes it's us acknowledging that is the message we're receiving from the universe. So if we are guided and everywhere we go it's roses, and we continually ignore it, then we are basically telling the universe that that's too simple for me. I don't have time for that. that's childish, that isn't really, and that's how the universe communicates with us. The universe doesn't always communicate with us. Our spirit guides don't always communicate with us how we think that the universe communicates with us. So I just really want to hone in on that the elementals are really being, for me, everything looks more vivid. So I'm really heightened with my sense of color right now. And I'm really drawn to playing with that rainbow because it stimulates a certain sensory connection that we are in the process of activating. I could go on and on about that. But again, it seems so simple, but it might be that you are drawn to a particular animal right now and you're being guided to work with that animal. Anything in the elemental is really talking to us right now to say, hey, remember, this is how it works. Everything, spirit moves in all things. The spirit that moves in all things that the Native Americans talk about. Bringing to life the innate, right? The innate, inanimate, in animation. We are animating that in further recognition that the spirit and source moves in all things. So when we acknowledge a plant being, we then recognize that there is a subatomic particle structure in which that plant is communicating with us through sound and harmonics because it's a living being. And that plant may have something to offer us, even if it's just, I acknowledge you. You then, boom, activate it and the universe says, okay, you're ready for more. Because oftentimes we have all these little things that we've been ignoring. And they add up, I talked about this before, to that big aha. The other thing that's been coming through, not only for me, but for other sisters of mine, are the angelics. Especially, again, so this is not an arena that I've really worked with on a massive scale. Others have worked with this for a very long time. But what I was shown in a beautiful session that I had with a light worker who really works with that angelic presence, whether they realized it or not, is sound. What we tend to think angels as looking like is not necessarily what is true on a quantum scale. So what I've been shown is we are angels embodied in the body because we are connected to that realm. It's quantum, okay? Everything is quantumly entangled. We are parts of the whole. We are a chemical combination of sound and harmonics and color and vibration and frequency. So are the angelics. Therefore, many of the angelics are just future, past, higher, dimensional or density, two different things, beings that are essentially us operating in that space. But what we're doing by opening to that energy and not labeling these angels as having a one particular job or one particular identity, that helps, I'm hearing, release the chains of lineage and lineages of belief systems that have entrained us into only perceiving one version of the truth. So there are many versions, is what I'm hearing. And what I was shown is these beings, really, it's about the sound. It literally is musical. There are shapes and many different variations and shapes and aspects of these angelic frequencies. And we are a version of them embodied. So by us allowing ourselves to expand into that vibration, it allows us to then open up to that relationship and harmonics that then allows us to open as an embodiment of that highest aspect of pure love. It's pure bliss. It's, So that's another video perhaps I'll do later, and that was just a synchronicity I wanted to share. As we tap into this space that is being offered, that is full of vibration and sound, it allows us to influence our environment with those particular electromagnetic, harmonic signals that then maps into our environment, play on words, the higher spaciousness of expression, creation, in form, information. This allows us to relax into this higher variation of variables. And this is all a play on words. This allows us to feel that we can, just lighten up. Not be so serious. Allow ourselves to let go of the need to judge our experiences or label things. Letting go of the labels of ourselves and what it is that we're, Kiti nehe uha mokunete ki anesta uahate anokune awahania stanokua dianikia uhayenua uahat enna. For the language that we have been using has been placed within a hard, structured format. We are feeling into a higher formatting. So I'm hearing we're stepping out of formidable and we're admitting to releasing the formalities into a higher form of reality. This then allows us to blend with our multidimensionality, and it allows us to interpret trumpets to allow the sound to bring its awareness through us into our awareness. This piques our interest in higher heart harmonics. It allows us to peak. I'm seeing a reference to raise our frequency, speak from a higher frequency, which is less limiting, and allows us to access our limitless abilities. And this allows us to stir up these frequencies and create with the elementals that many have forgotten about. And I'm hearing many have forgotten how to do this because we have been so bound with technology. And even though we are still tightly woven and interwoven with technology, we are the technology that is rewiring, remapping the circuitry of our interferometry, of our pheromones. Oh, I had this in session with this other light worker, so thank you, Holly. She helped me to see this. We're giving off these pheromones. And essentially, we are changing chemically, hormonally. I'm hearing pheronomically. So lots of plays on words here. And if you think of flowers, they give off pheromones, scent. So this is heightening for a lot of us. And this is allowing us to feel into our sensual awareness is what I'm hearing. And that's a play on words. So our sensory, our sensual, the senses. When I did this session with this other light worker, I saw that the sound doesn't just come through our throat and our tongue. It comes through our nose. It comes through the vocal columns. And that's a whole other play on words. So the more we can allow ourselves to expand and just really play with these chords and these harmonies through song, dance. I talk about this all the time. Cooking, drawing, artwork, gardening, writing, painting, movement. Sometimes it can be playing with numerology, numbers, light language, writing. It doesn't have to be. I'm hearing make the form into formless, like less of a structure and more of an infrastructure. And that's a play on words, like infrared, like I'm seeing it's more of a light structure rather than this dense architecture that we have been taught is the only way to be. So I'm just going to end on that note and say thank you again. Thank you again for connecting. We are all connecting with one another in such a quantum way that at times it can feel overwhelming, and at times we can feel at a loss for words because the words can sometimes be limiting. And that's when just sing a song. What is that, Neil Diamond? Sing it loud. Sing our own song, our own rhythm. It isn't about what's going on out there and what other people are telling us we need to sound like, what we need to look like, what we need to eat. Our bodies are our technology. Our bodies are telling us innately, eat this, smell this, dance here, travel there. And if you can't travel anywhere, you can still travel with the elementals on your land. You can purchase seeds. You can still meditate with them. You can use crystals. You can use tarot cards. There's so many different ways. There is a limitless, it's really just infinite right now. And we have such a huge wave of energy coming in. The more we allow ourselves to be a little bit more free-flowing and less rigid in all ways, the more we move like water, move like seaweed, right? We're just allowing this energy to work with us rather than putting up our dukes and feeling like we have to keep navigating away from certain things. Sometimes it's just about looking at it and going, I see you. What now? And more will start to flow in. So in love and light, guys, namaste.